Welcome to Biz Coach and Coffee, where our guests are experts, entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants that share tips, strategies, and tactics to help small business entrepreneurs grow their business for long-term success. Please welcome your host, Biz Coach Steve Feld.
Hello, I'm Biz Coach Steve Feld, and my goal is to stop business owners from suffering entrepreneurial depression and start making running their businesses much easier. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to crack multiple 6 and 7 figures without burning themselves out. Today, we have another fantastic guest with us today. We have Heather Pearce Campbell. Now, it's definitely different than a lot of our other guests because she's a warrior mama. She's a nature lover, dedicated attorney, and legal coach for world-changing entrepreneurs. She's based out of Seattle. She's a mom of 2 little wild munchkins and the founder of Pearce Law. That's her legal practice. And she's also the creator of the Legal Website Warrior. It's an online business that provides legal education and support to informational entrepreneurs like coaches, consultants, online educators, speakers, authors. Heather is also has her own podcast, Guts, Grit, and Great Business. And she can also be found at legalwebsitewarrior.com. We will have that link in the show notes. But welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Biz Coach Steve. So good to see you again. And I'll just put a plug in that people need to hop over to Guts, Grit, and Great Business in probably a few weeks. Your episode is about to go live.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it'll be super fun.
It's always fun being on other people's podcasts as well as having them on mine. But one thing I love is, highlighting the expertise to help our listeners who are coaches, consultants, small business owners, entrepreneurs, helping them in their business. So tell us, how did you get started in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So the quick version of the story is that I had some experiences young that really set me on the entrepreneurial path. Part of it is being raised by an entrepreneur. And then a huge part of it was that while I was in law school, my mom passed away. And so it really changed my perspective on time, on, kind of the traditional route that people take of like, putting in the hours for the man to learn the things and eventually get to the job or career that they want, right? So I became very unwilling to do work that I was not intrinsically motivated to do. And so what it meant is I launched my own practice right out of law school. And that, that's been 20 years now. And it was highly unusual to do that. It was the worst time in like 30 years of graduating law school to be in the legal business. 9/11 had happened a year or two before, right? So a lot of firms were not growing. They were shuttering their doors from the standpoint of hiring new associates. There were a lot of factors involved, but it was the right decision for me. And I love people. I love small businesses. I have a huge heart for entrepreneurs. And so I've walked that path alongside a lot of the small businesses that I serve, for a long time now.
Excellent. Because I know you're in the legal field. We've had these conversations. I don't know. It's the biggest problem, I guess, was I see it, and I know you see it every day. Small business owners, entrepreneurs think, I'll never have a legal problem. I'm not a big company. What do you see as their number one issue when they say something like that? What always happens afterwards?
Oh, well, yeah, there's so many things, right? The landscape for small businesses when it comes to the issues that they face is deep and wide. The first issue is having the mindset of I don't need this, or the rules don't apply to me because I'm a small business. And one of the things that I'm a real advocate for is providing essential education to small business owners and to online entrepreneurs so that they understand the landscape that they're playing in. And so a couple of statistics I'd like to share, and I'll have you guess, right? So what percentage of the business marketplace, just from a numbers standpoint, do you think, and this is just in the US, do you think are made up by small businesses?
Last time I looked, it was like 96%.
Yeah, you're so close. 99.9% from a numbers perspective. So if you're a small business owner, if you're an online entrepreneur, I want you to understand right now, you are the marketplace.
Yeah.
And from a numbers perspective, while big businesses certainly, a select number of them have a lot of sway in the big business marketplace, small businesses collectively still make up for 42 to 43% of annual GDP.
Yep.
We're a massive portion of the marketplace. And so issue number one is that small business owners tend to dramatically underestimate themselves, underestimate their role in the marketplace, and just think like, well, I'm too small to have to worry about things like business contracts or trademarks or IP protection or whatever, right? And it's just not true. So step number one is like, let's get the mindset right to understand if you have a business, you need to treat it like a business from a legal perspective.
Yeah, I see that with a lot of businesses. Their legal entity is not set up correctly, so it's hurting them on the tax side. They're not having the proper protection. But then when I look at things like their website or their IP, and it's like, there's nothing in here protecting you.
Yes.
And they're like, well, it's just me and, one other person. It's like, it doesn't matter. You're in business. There's always the one Yahoo out there who is sue happy. You got to protect your butt.
Oh, it's so true. Talking about the Yahoos, I mean, and I'm just going to relate part of my journey growing up being raised by an entrepreneur, right? And his businesses were mostly in the brick and mortar world. And every business that he has had has faced certain percentage. And I just tell people it's a numbers game. It's a math game. You are just going to have a certain percentage of people that cross your path that are problematic. It's just how it goes.
Absolutely. We're going to get a little deeper into that. We're going to take a short break from our sponsor. We'll be right back with Heather.
This episode is sponsored by Spotlight Books. Get your expert book completed in 30 days. If you don't have an expert lead magnet book about you and how you serve your market, then visit www.spotlight-books.com. Link is also in the show notes. Put a spotlight on your expertise.
And we're back with Heather. We're talking about, opening yourself up to liability because you're not protecting yourself in this case. And most business owners think, well, I got an LLC, so I'm protected. Well, there's that word limited to begin with at the beginning. And a court can actually strip your LLC away. And I talk to business owners about this all the time. They don't believe me. You're the expert in this world. Tell them how that can be stripped away by doing even one teeny tiny thing in their business, and they think it's okay.
Well, you've obviously been around the block, Steve, because right, you know really, it sounds like really well, the risk of, and particularly that LLC owners face. And let's be clear, an LLC is a great business model for a lot of my clients, right? But end of the day, you still have to treat it like a business. So the ways that you can make a misstep here, and many people do, when you look at 90% of small business owners in the US not getting their legal needs met, and many of those businesses being LLCs, it's a very popular business model, in part because the requirements are less rigorous than having a C corporation, for example, right? But you still have to do things like maintain business bank accounts, right? Keep your funds separate from your personal funds. Maintain the corporate books. It's called corporate governance, where you're doing your annual filings. I met with a woman a few months ago who wanted me to do all this work in her business, and she gave me the name of the business entity when it was registered. I went and looked it up. It had been administratively dissolved 5 years previously.
Oh, geez.
She'd been just cruising along thinking that she was operating under this, that's a simple error. That's a paperwork error. Somebody missed the annual notice. They did not do their annual report. And then a few months lapsed and boom, you're administratively dissolved by the state. So something as simple as that massively problematic. But so it all gets down to corporate governance. Are you doing your annual filings with the state, with your local business requirements, like your business licensing? Are you keeping meeting minutes? How many LLC owners out there are not tracking their key business decisions because they think,
Right.
oh, it's just me, or it's me in a closely held company where, we're all friends here, or we're all family. We're not going to really do the rigorous bookkeeping that is required.
No, you still do it.
You still have to do it. If you're making a financial decision where you're investing in somebody, whether it's a consultant, whether it's an independent contractor, hiring an employee, whatever it is, you need to keep meeting minutes and track those decisions, track it so that if you ever get audited, you don't have a court or the IRS or some other government agency deciding you've really treated your business like a shell for running personal things through.
And that's the number one thing. And I even researched, I've spoken to IRS auditors, and they tell me the same thing over and over. They go, the easiest thing we go after small business owners for are two things. One is commingling funds, mixing your business and your personal. Even a Taco Bell charge will violate it. And they go, the second thing is you think everyone's an independent contractor. They go, and he told me straight up, he goes, small business owners make it easy for us to go after them.
Yep. And it's simply because they don't know what they don't know. They don't get the advanced help of a little strategy, putting a legal roadmap in place for their business, right? That looks at the various areas, helps them. Because I tell people, you don't have to be an attorney to understand your business from a legal landscape, but you do need a little support, right? You need to be able to issue spot, and you need the golden nuggets of information that are going to help you avoid the big pitfalls because they're obvious ones. And like you just said, the IRS will tell you what they are. Right?
It's on their website. Top 10 things like we go after small businesses for. And it's like, we're not actually proactively going, you're actually flagging yourself and telling us.
Yeah.
And then people go, how? It's like, well, when you do your return.
It's so true. There's just, I tell people that the online world of business is still the wild west of business. The world of small business, people can put up a website overnight, they can be in business and literally have no idea what they're doing from a legal perspective. And it's the equivalent of getting in a vehicle and driving down the freeway at 70 miles an hour and not having a seatbelt on. People do it every day.
It's funny. I've owned and operated 7 businesses, and I've always legaled up. And then when I ran 3 others, I would come into it, and as I'm digging and finding things, it's like, wow, they're being sued for this. That could have been solved a year ago. And then now it's like, wait a minute, I'm in there to turn this company around, so I now have to get involved. And it's like, all right, let's lawyer up and let's do this. I go, this could have saved you guys hundreds of thousands if you would have just did this one thing.
Right. It's so true. A little proactive. This is the thing I think that most people misunderstand about legal is they put it on the expense side of the business rather than the growth side, like growth planning. It's a little bit like you're about to run a race around a track. Do you want all the hurdles in your way, or do you want the hurdles off of the track? Right? Let's get the hurdles off of the track before you run the race. It will save you so much time and energy and heartache and money, and it will support your growth. It will support you as you scale. It's not just an expense, right? It actually will support the growth and help the business grow faster.
It does. I mean, I know I have enough horror stories to ensure you have way more about business owners that could have just did one little ounce of prevention.
I know.
And they would still have a business today.
Yeah, it's what I wish people knew is that there's a known map to business on the legal side. It's not a never-ending list of stuff. It's not Pandora's box. I think a lot of people have the fear of like, oh, I don't even want to look over there because I'm afraid if I take the lid off, it's going to just be this like never-ending, whatever, a never-ending mess that I just don't want to deal with. It's not. There's a very known map for how you protect a small business.
I totally agree. And I know we can go on this like forever because
Totally.
I've seen it just destroy so many businesses because they just know what they know and don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
Always ask. And that's why we have someone like Heather here. Heather, we always give something away to our audience to help them out. What do you have to help our listeners, those small business owners, entrepreneurs, help them protect themselves?
Well, I really love just giving people the map, right? My whole goal is to break the black box legal model. I want people to have the information they need even before they start making legal decisions. And so I've created something called the Legal Basics Bootcamp. It's free. It's a little mini video series that gets dripped out over 5 days. They're like 5-minute videos, super short. It will help you create the legal roadmap to your business. It follows a framework that I developed specifically to help people quickly and easily understand where the legal needs come from in their business.
Pretty simple, folks. Get that protection. Even, even on a landing page, a website, do you really are legally protected? You're thinking, well, just my website. Get into the boot camp, learn some information, take advantage of Heather's offer. And I will have all the links and everything in the show notes. So just go ahead and click on through on that. Heather, I just want to say thank you very much for being our guest.
So good to see you, Steve. Such a joy to be here and spend a few minutes with you. I know people are like, oh, they just spend a lot of time scaring us. No, the reality is information is power. It does not take a lot to protect your business. It just takes a little bit of legal training, and that's what the boot camp is for. And if you have any questions, reach out. There's other resources linked inside of the boot camp. So it's a great place to start.
That's it. Protect your business, folks. I swear it'll protect your life as well as your business. It
does.
really will.
Mic drop. Yes. It'll protect your life as well as your business if you do it right.
Thanks again, Heather, and to everyone out there. This is Biz Coach Steve Felt, and wish you much business success.
We hope you enjoyed today's topic. If you'd like to discuss how you can apply these strategies in your business, let us know. This episode is sponsored by Spotlight. Get your own expert book written about you in 30 days. Set yourself apart from the competition. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Also, feel free to give us your comments. We look forward to hearing from you on Biz Coach and Coffee.